In a bombshell ruling today, a federal judge dismissed 3 assistant U.S. attorneys from the prosecution team in a case involving Faro strip club owner Peter Gerace. Channel 2's Dave McKinley was in court when the sanctions were announced, which even left many veteran lawyers, I understand, kind of stunned, Dave. So how will this impact the case?
Well, we should first say that this ruling affects just one of the 3 cases for which Gerace has been indicted, where he and more than a half dozen other defendants stand charged with tampering with and intimidating witnesses, including one whom they are accused of arranging a drug overdose death. It does not mean that the case will not go forward, but it does mean that the U.S. Attorney for Western New York, Peter Gerace, will have to appoint other of her assistants to bring it to trial.
I have seldom seen this happen.
Attorney Steve Cohen, who previously represented Gerace but no longer does, was in the courtroom when the sanctions were announced.
What you saw today was Judge McCarthy telling the government, hey, you've got to play by the rules also.
After Magistrate Jeremiah McCarthy had set a deadline for prosecutors to turn over discovery material to the defense, not only did they miss it, but then insisted they needed a protective order restricting who'd be privy to their evidence and witnesses to protect them from dangerous individuals who they allege have ties to the mafia and motorcycle gangs. But what the government admitted in court was a regrettable failure and negligence on the part of its own prosecutors to not get their ducks in a row before the deadline. Assistant U.S. Attorney Tiffany Lee insisted was not done in bad faith. It was not done with intent to deceive or to be dishonest, Lee argued, before the judge, who then asked, how can the government argue it did not intentionally violate my order when it did? That's not what happened, insisted Lee. Yes, it is, said the judge, and I continue to believe the government acted in bad faith, and it pains me to say that. He then ordered that Assistant U.S. Attorneys Nick Cooper, Casey Schalbach, and lead prosecutor Joe Trippi be removed from the case.
I'm disappointed.
Attorney George Moscato, who represents defendant John Ehrman, the reputed head of the Outlaws Motorcycle Club who worked at Faro's, sought with other attorneys to have the indictment dismissed entirely.
Unfortunately, he didn't, so we'll just have to move forward.
But it appears it will be without these 3.
I have seen the government act improperly many, many, many times, and they usually skate, and they emerge unscathed. That didn't happen this time.
In court, the judge indicated his belief that if he did dismiss the indictment, an appeals court would likely overturn him, while he also noted that even if that didn't happen, prosecutors could just re-indict the case, which would just be a waste of everyone's time in a case that is dragged on for years. On your side in the newsroom, Dave McKinley, Channel 2 News.